Welcome to the channel codezup. In this video we will see how we can clean our PII data, that is personal identifiable information. So nowadays everyone is talking about ChatGPT, and I hope you already know about the ChatGPT, and you also have I hope you have an idea about how we can communicate with the ChatGPT. So basically this is the home page of the ChatGPT, and we need to provide an input that is called prompt to ChatGPT, and based on our input, that is our prompt, it will provide us the response. For example, if we give input who is Barack Obama, then it will return us the output based on our input. So here we have given who is Barack Obama as our input, that is called prompt, and it is returning the response based on our input. So but sometimes our input contains PII data, that is personal identifiable information, and we know if we provide such information to ChatGPT, then it will use this data to train its model. But in the enterprise world, if we cannot share our customer data with ChatGPT or any other third-party services, so it is essential to clean PII data, that is personal identifiable information data, from the input text. And after cleaning such data, we can submit our data to third-party services. So there are many ways to clean such information from the text, but we will discuss and use one of the most common AWS service, that is Amazon Comprehend, for this purpose. So if we go to the Google and search Amazon Comprehend, then it give us such type of response, and here we can simply click detect PI entities Amazon Comprehend. So if we see the basic description, then it simply says you can use Amazon Comprehend to detect PI entities in English text documents if PI entity is a specific type of personally identifiable information. So use PII detection to locate the PI entities or redact the PI entities in the text. So let's discuss it further. So here we simply create an simple Spring Boot project, and after that we will configure some required dependencies, and then we will configure Amazon Comprehend client, and then we will move further. So let's jump to the IDE. So here we are using IntelliJ IDEA. So you simply click on new project, and after clicking on new project, you simply give a name such as PII data cleaning app, and com.pii data clean app, and simply here we simply define our artifact, and simply we will move next. And then we will simply move to here. So here we haven't add the required dependencies, so we need to add those dependencies as well. So let's go to the web and search Spring Boot web starter dependency, and then just open first link and copy it from here, and just we will paste this in our code base. So here we need to add this dependency. So here we have added this, but we haven't closed this. So here now we have added the Spring Boot Starter web dependency. So since we are using specific Amazon service here, so we need to add Amazon Comprehend dependency as well. So we already copied this dependency from the Google and kept it here, so we directly simply copy paste now. So this is the Amazon Comprehend dependency. So before moving further, let's run it first and then we will check whether it is running fine or not. So here it is running fine. So now let's go to the next step and simply go to the here and simply create a package as service, and in service we will simply create an interface that is PII service, and then simply create service PII service IMPL, and basically it implements our PII service. So we need to configure Amazon Comprehend client as well. So for that we will create a new package as config, and inside config we simply create AWS config and annotate it with @configuration, and inside this we need to use some AWS access key and secret key ID, access key ID, private string, AWS access key ID, and then we need to specify AWS dot secret key dot ID, and we need to specify AWS secret key ID, and then at last we need to define a reason as well, AWS reason. So for that we need to define string AWS reason. So since we have mentioned these properties here, so we need to mention these properties in the application.properties as well. So just copy it from here and go to the application.properties, and then go to again config, go to the config file again and copy secret key as well, and then AWS reason. So just go to the Amazon Web Services and copy access key and paste it here, and similarly we need to copy secret key and need to paste it here, and reason should be US East 1. So US East 1, but for confirmation we will confirm from here, that is US East 1. So now go to the AWS config class again and configure AWS client from there. So basically this name should be according to the naming convention, so we need to define it in a camel case, AWS access key ID and AWS secret key ID, AWS secret key ID. So now next is the we need to define the bean of Amazon Comprehend. So it is not Amazon Comprehend, it is simply Comprehend client. So we need to define this like this: return Comprehend client. We need to mention reason, AWS reason dot credential provider, that is default credential provider dot create dot build. So for reason we need to define as reason of like this. So now our Amazon Comprehend client is ready, and now our Amazon Comprehend client creation part and configuring part is completed. So now just go to the PI data service, and inside that service we need to define one method, that is string detect and clean PII, and this will take text as input, and then after giving text as input we need to define we need to implement this method in our service class. So just go to this service class and mention it as @service and implement the method that we have defined in the interface. So first of all, here we have made spelling mistake, so we need to correct that. So we have corrected our spelling mistake, and now our next thing is writing code for the detecting and cleaning PII entities. So for that, first we will write the code for detecting PII entities. So first we will prepare the PII entity request. Detect PII entities request, and in this detect PII entity request dot builder and dot text. So we will simply add the input text in this, and then we will mention the language code, that is language code is English, and simply then we will give the input build to this, right? So after preparing request, our next step is calling this particular AWS service and getting the desired response. So for this we will simply use our Comprehend client. So for using Comprehend client we need to auto void that here, private Comprehend client, and simply use Comprehend client detect. So detect PI entities is the existing method, and to this method we simply need to add the our PI entity request. So after giving this we need to simply process the response. So for processing the response, so PII entities, and after getting PII entities detect PII response dot entities. So after entities process this request PI entities, then processing these requests, first of all we simply declared one string builder object, and so after preparing this request we simply first calculate the start index of PI entity, that is begin offset, and then we simply get the get end offset, and then we simply run a loop to clean this information from the input text. So simply we will declare a text, and then we will simply clean text dot replace, not replace but set char at set char at 0, and at last we simply return the clean text. So this is the basically our code, and code to detect PII and cleaning that PII data. Now we need to expose an API to use this from outside of this service. So for that we will create an package as controller, and inside that controller we will simply configure PII controller and simply annotate this with @rest controller. Simply add this as rest controller, and after adding it as a rest controller, introduce a new method public string clean PII data, and it will take a string as input, and @get mapping and for this we also need to auto void our service private PII service, and simply return PII service dot detect and clean and text. So now it's so since we are done with with the basic coding, now our next step is to run this code, and we'll test it for the desired output, whether we are getting a desired output or not. So let's run it, and now just clean your console and go to the postman and simply hit the API with the uh, mentioned string. So here we have given this string and we get the desired output, that PI data is masked with the uh, desired character that we have mentioned. So let's add, hi, I am Robert from the codezup company, and my age is 25 years old. I belong to the India, and my credit card number is this. So let's hit our API with this input and we'll check whether it is able to identify personal information and mask this or not. So here we are getting the desired output. Hi, I'm from the codezup company and my age this is old. I belong to the number is there. So also my date of birth is so I will hit this. So here we are getting the desired output. So this is the input output we are getting. So that's it for this video. Hope you like this, and please do subscribe our channel so that you cannot miss any further update from us.